Hi, I'm Adam, and it's time to empty the compost bin slash worm farm that I've made here. This has cost absolutely nothing to make, and it's definitely reducing the amount of waste that goes into the landfill. So I'm going to empty this now and then show you how to make one. I've got the top of the bin off now, and this little project actually started when the bin was a little bit broken. I thought actually I could reuse this bin rather than throwing it in the landfill. I could reuse it to recycle some of our food and garden waste. And so what you'll need is a bin, hopefully an old one that you know you were thinking of throwing away, so then you don't have to. And what I also had was one of these, and actually the handles had broken off that, and so I thought, okay, so what I could do was I fitted that inside, pushed it down into the bin, so it probably goes down to about this kind of point here, and then I used some scissors. As you can see, these are they're actually kitchen scissors, but they're now being replaced, so I thought I'll take those out to my garage, and they're actually really good for cutting through thick plastic like that. So what I did was cut around the outside so it was parallel with the top of the rubbish bin. Then I drilled one hole either side. See, here we go. Drilled one hole there and one hole there. See, you can see there's a little, and there's actually a little bolt in there. There's a little bolt in there as well. Roughly something like that you'll want, something that you can close up on both sides. And yeah, so once you've got those two things in place, you're nearly there really. The next step was to get a much finer drill, and was to drill holes in the bottom of this container so that basically any juices or I've got worms in the bottom of there, basically just garden worms, that I throw a little bit of soil over the top every so often. If I find a worm, I just chuck it on in. And the water and all the rest of it from the food, and as it breaks down, goes down there to the bottom. And there's a little hose pipe at the bottom, which I just again, a thicker drill bit, I put a little bit of hose piping. It's really just probably 6 inches of hose piping or even less. So that just lets any of the fluid come out there. See, a little bit more just popped out there. Probably if I angle it a little bit more, it'll come out. So that is that. It's got a little top that I can put back on it. And this stuff here is quite good for the garden. It'll it's got lots of nice minerals and nutrients and that sort of thing. Yeah, so really there's not a lot more to it. Every time I come along, see you've got a little bush here, just pull some of that off, throw it in, so it's it helps the green stuff go in. What else have we got in here? What have I been eating? There's a lot of coffee grinds. There's some grass, egg, a little bit of eggshell, cucumber, carrot. There's a leaf in there. Actually, what you can put in, if you've got worms in there, is some tissue paper or paper towels. If you've been using them around the kitchen, then they don't have to go in the waste as well. So reusing, recycling, everything here cost me absolutely nothing, and it's helping to reduce our waste as well. So what I'm going to do now is empty this, and I'll show you the inside so you get a little bit better idea. Also, just while I'm looking at it, what you want to do is just raise that bin up a little bit and have your drip tray there, so you'll have a couple of bricks on either side just to hold that up off the ground. Another thing is holes, just some holes for air to get in and out. So I've got 4 large holes going around the outside there at the bottom, and then I've also got large holes here on the top of the bin, and that just allows a little bit of air to circulate through, keeps the worms happy. I put a little bit of water through there and some extra soil from time to time, just to sort of, you know, even everything out, so that the worms aren't just chomping up vegetables and things. They've got a little bit of their normal soil in that as well. So I'm going to empty this out now, and you can have a look at what comes out after a few months of sort of this process working through. It's certainly good for the soil in the garden, adds nutrients to that as well. Now I'm just about to move this over to the garden so I can show you what's in the bottom of it. One little problem for me is this little guy Cookie here. If he watches what I'm doing in the garden, he will no doubt go in and inspect later on. And inspecting for him means digging it all up and dragging it all out again, so it can get a bit messy. So what I'm going to do is put him on the other side of this little fence so he can't see what I'm doing. So the compost heap / worm farm's out here in the garden, and I'm just about to empty it now. What I like to do is, because I have a dog and he likes to dig things up and inspect them and make a bit of a mess generally, I dig a little bit of a hole here so I can just put the material in and then cover it back over so that the soil can get back to doing its work and breaking it down even further. The compost is now in the hole here, and I'm just about to cover it up with some soil. You can see there's a few worms floating around there which help break it down. Some grass clippings, all the other things. That's getting closer and closer to soil as it goes. And my compost bin's empty now, so I'm going to clean that all out and then give you a bit more information about how to set yourself up again. As you can see, I've filled this little area up with soil now, so it can start decomposing away even further. Discovered some potatoes along the way. That's another top tip for gardeners who like things to pretty much take care of themselves, is that potatoes seem to just keep self-seeding and growing, and so I've always got a really good supply of potatoes for the kitchen. I've cleaned out this container here, and as you can see there's loads of little holes which I drilled in the bottom, just to help all the juices flow through to the hose pipe at the bottom there. And you know, when that's collected in the drip tray, it then goes through to the other vegetables and fruits in the garden. Just before I put the top back on this compost heap / worm farm, I've just put a little bit of soil in the bottom of this inner container, and as you can see there's a little worm in there. That won't do any harm in breaking up any food scraps or garden material that I put in there. And so now I'm just going to put the top back on that and it'll be ready to use. When I'm just setting up my new compost, I've got this little drain here that needs clearing, and often I find that all the good stuff comes down the bank and sort of composts itself in there, but when I need to clean it out, it's quite good for starting off compost and layering the compost up as I go. Once I put food in, I put a little bit of this on, and that just helps break everything down. As you can see, I'm just starting to build up a few food scraps there, a little bit of tissue paper, garden material, and I'm just going to throw some of this compost that I've got from the drain, or the soil and worms and bits and pieces, just layer that up over the top. Helps break things down. So close that back up, seal it up, and just out of interest, I've made a little diagram here. Just shows you quickly how it's done. You've got the lid there, obviously, which is we just closed up. You got the insert there. The insert sits in, and you drill a whole lot of little holes once the insert's in, and that helps the liquid drain through to the hose at the bottom and the drip tray, and your 2 bricks just hold it up off the ground to help that flow through. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more tips and tricks that will save you money around the house, garage and garden.